Okay, and welcome to another episode of I'm a Black Woman, Yes, I Matter. I'm your host, Kamara Denise. I want to give a shout out to the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust for partnering with us to ensure that we can highlight and celebrate Black women-owned, led, and founded businesses here in South Florida. It is my pleasure to have Coach TomekaJames here. How you doing, Tomeka?
Oh, great. Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Yes, I'm so glad that we could find the time. So why don't you tell the folks a little bit about your businesses?
All right. I will be brief as I can to share a couple of things. So, I am a former cosmetologist and I decided to exit from behind a chair 3 years ago. And I moved into becoming a life and business coach. So, that's who I've been. As a result of being a life and business coach and helping with social media strategies, with business strategies, with also with making sure people are doing things in a timely fashion, accountability, I moved into a new business, which is my agency. So I was working with entrepreneurs and realized that they actually didn't want to do their social media. They didn't want to do graphics, video editing, websites. So I created my digital agency, which is under CTJ Effective Solutions. And then as a result of having that and being a life and business coach, I wanted to be outside more because I was working behind my computer. So I decided to create a tactic to come outside, which was use this device, the 360 photo booth. So I started that as a thing, and then it blew up and grew into something else. So I have a 360 photo booth business. So that's me. Those are the businesses, and that one is called CTJ 360 Photo Booth. Woo!
Love that. And I have been curious, what does CTJ stand for?
Coach Tamika James. Yes.
Yes, CTJ, Coach Tamika James. Okay, so you were a cosmetologist, you were behind the chair. So as a cosmetologist, you were an independent consultant, I'm assuming, or you had your own hair salon. Tell us a little bit. Were you an entrepreneur at that time, or were you working for somebody else's salon?
Ooh, I only worked for someone else's salon like two times. And and it was very short lived. And once I actually moved out of New Jersey and I went to North Carolina and had to start from scratch. And that was where I became my own business person for real. And then when I came back to Jersey, I opened up a salon. So I had been a salon owner from the very beginning, and that was who I was. So salon owner, and then I started getting staff. And I realized that if I'm going to have staff, I have to make sure that they understand how to assist each other. I trained them and then they trained each other. So I started training people. Then I said, I am an educator. So I started doing trade shows, educating. And that was, I would say about 3 years after that, I full fledged became an educator and traveled the world educating. So that was another part of me. And then I created products and tools and things that supported me being an educator. So I was never just a salon owner, never just behind a chair. Yeah, I just couldn't do the one thing. And yeah, I barely worked for other folks.
I love that journey, right? Because it's kind of like a progression. You're like, oh man, you have a passion for cosmetology, and then you went into saying like, I can actually infuse that passion and be an educator, and then that's led you to travel across the world, and then you realize, well, actually, I'm a successful businesswoman, and I can teach other people how to be successful in their entrepreneurial journey. And I think a lot of folks don't realize that that's oftentimes how entrepreneurs move. We find a passion and then we realize that we have these transferable skills. Can you talk a little bit more about those light bulb moments? And you're like, I've got this skill that actually works well in a larger and more impactful way.
So back to the moment in time when I was trying to solve a problem for myself and my mother-in-law years ago. I'm divorced now, but at the time she was experiencing cancer, and it was her second time around. And I wanted to create a solution for her, which was how do I make a wig for her without her having to be present because she's going through this journey of cancer. So I slept on this and I would go to sleep every night for literally 6 months, thinking about it as I went to bed. I asked everyone in my path if they could help me with a solution of how I could measure the head to be able to make this unit without someone being present. And over 6 months, I went to sleep. And then one day, 6 months later, this dream, this reoccurring dream that I was actually having it finished and I had a solution. So when I had the solution, I was like, what do I do with this? So now the educator part of me had already started, and I was doing my own trainings, and I incorporated my new process into the training. At the same time, creating the patent for the technique, and I started educating. I started going door to door, like, hey, who wants to learn this technique that I just figured out? And I did one training, and I realized that I got 13 people in the room. They all paid me $450 to be specific at this training. And I was like, I was so proud of myself, but I said, this is for the world.
Mm.
These 13 people, I'm proud of myself for training them, but it's not just for them. So how do I expand my territory? So I realized that I had to go two things. I had to go to the trade show where the people are who need it. I can't just go door to door. So I had to go to the beauty trade show. I went to Bronner Brothers, right? And then the second thing was, once I got to Bronner Brothers, I was there educating, but how do people take me home? How do they get this information that maybe they missed a little bit while they were here? I had to put it on video. So I hired a videographer and I created my first video. And fast forward, that turned into 40 actual videos that were, purchasable. And they could take them home with them. And then the CDs changed, and then we went into digital. And then I ended up having over 100 some odd instructional videos that people could click a button and view. So yeah, that's the journey right there. Like, I just kept figuring it out as I went along. I realized that there was more people that needed to get the information. I realized that it couldn't just be me door to door. And I realized, like, I needed to connect with those who needed it at their level, like wherever they are, which is at the trade show.
Mm. I
Yeah.
love that. And you dropped something just very casually in there, that you have a patent. Talk to us a little bit about that process. I mean, because protecting your intellectual property is something that we know is important, but we often overlook when we're in the grind and the hustle of our business.
Best word I could say was annoying. Wasn't fun, but needed to be done, so necessary. I say that because I think some of us who are entrepreneurs, and we do interviews like this, and we say, oh yeah, I did my patent, and oh, it was amazing. No, it was not. It was not fun. Okay, but I had to do it. So what I did was I purchased the book for how to create your patent. That book was this thick, and I went through it as much as I could to get what I needed to get from it. And it took me some time to get to the part that I needed. I read the book and I began to do the patent, and I followed all of the steps. And it took me a while. Don't even remember how long it took, but it took a while. And I finally filed it. And basically, then here we are. So, and it does take a while for it to come back. But it was a great journey. I enjoyed it, but it was a tedious process, drawing out everything, because they have to see your vision, and then
Mm.
they have to check to see if anyone else has already done this. So it's a whole process. Yeah.
Okay, so now talk to us about, you've got your patent, you're doing these trade shows, you've got 100 instructional hours of video as it relates to cosmetology. How do we switch now into helping other entrepreneurs? And of course, I want to get to the photo booth as well, because as you said, it does draw people into your business and into your ecosystem that you've developed here.
Okay. So question was, how did after I got the patent, and then wait, what did you say?
Sorry, I was like, what's it? I'm like, you've got your education, you've got your patent, you've got 100 hours of instructional courses. How does that then turn into becoming a life and business coach for other entrepreneurs?
Yes. All right. So as I'm on this journey and I'm educating, there's a part of educating where you're literally coaching. So when I got to the point where I decided that I don't want to do hair anymore. Like, I've done this hair thing for over 20 some odd years. I started when I was 13. And I realized that there is a part of me that needed to be birthed, that people needed to see, that was even more stronger and more impactful than me standing there doing hair or even teaching hair techniques. So along the journey, I would incorporate in every presentation I did a little business segment. I didn't think that a cosmetologist should come into the room and just learn how to do a technique with their hands and walk away and think that now that you know how to do something, how do you actually share that with the world? What's the business side of it? What about pricing? What about structure of your day? And how do you actually get things done? And this was always incorporated. I would even read like something from a book. I would read something from a book at the beginning of my classes to give them inspiration. So I was like, that part of me needs to be in front of people and let me push the hair girl back a little. So basically, that was what I did. So I got into a space of, taking all of the trainings to understand coaching. And then boom, I just let her come out. And that was what happened. So yeah, it was like looking at myself, like,
Mm.
who am I today? Even though I've been this beauty person and I've been this person who've helped people, like, how do I really express myself today for real? And that was like, I love the pandemic, even though some people had a lot of issues with it. It was that point in time where I was able to sit down and I couldn't do hair. Well, I made wigs and I put them outside, and people came to my backyard and they picked up their wigs. I didn't see them, didn't touch them, but I sold hair. So you can come and get your wig. That was what I did. But it was that time for reflection about who I really am and what else I could bring to the world. And let me share this. During the pandemic, I worked from my computer. So I have all of these other skills. I'm great with technology and a lot of other things. So when I couldn't do hair for real, service people, I decided to start training with technology. So I put posts out and I said, hey, who wants technology information? Who doesn't understand Zoom? I looked at the world to see what the world needed. And I began to do trainings on Zoom. If you missed the training, you could buy the recording. If you want to learn one-to-one how to do your technology stuff, I did sessions like that. So when I saw that I could literally make more money with me being a person who's educating and coaching, that's how I knew that I could be this person and let the hair thing go.
I love that. Because there's a parallel between your personal growth and your business growth, right? And sometimes you just outgrow certain things, and that's okay because there's a new chapter that is opening up for you. All right, so let's talk about your 360 booth and like what was the brainchild behind that?
All right. Well, I was looking at the time that I still had available. So, as a life and business coach, I didn't coach every minute of the day. So I created a couple of coaching programs. And once I built them out, and I'm great with that kind of stuff as well, once I built it out, it basically had a button that a person can click and they go through their modules and they do the things that I need them to do. And then I meet with them once a week for accountability and to make sure they're on track and to answer questions. So when I built out these specific 3 programs that I was running, I had a lot of time at the end of the week. So now I said, okay, now that I'm only inside, how do I go and meet more people? So I sat and I thought about, well, where are my people? They are at business events. So what's another way to make money and interject myself at the business event all at the same time? So I purchased a 360 photo booth. Something came across my screen one day and it was like, wow, we could use this and we could actually make money with this. So I purchased it. And then the very first thing I did was I wanted to make sure I could stick with it. So a friend was having a party. And I said, hey, I'm getting this 360 photo booth. I know you're having this New Year's party. Can I bring it? And they were like, sure. So I took it to the party and it was a hit, of course. And then the thing I wanted to happen, one of the ladies was at the party and she actually works for a company. And she's like, we could use this and we would love to have you to come in and speak to the students. So the connection started happening.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And it, the intentionality behind it, I think, is so key. I mean, we go out, we network, we go to these events, and I wonder if people put intentionality around why they're going, how they're going to maximize. And so this is a great example. Not that everyone should go out and buy a 360 booth, but what is it that you're doing when you go out into these networking events that then can capitalize into not only your personal business growth, but you can help other people also build their businesses out and have an impact that way. So you've shared so much knowledge and education into the world. You've help coach up other cosmetologists, you're helping people in their businesses. What do you do for your own self care, to ensure that you can still continue to pour into others?
All right. So I have a membership for a massage. Okay. So I definitely get a massage a minimum of once a month. So that's one thing I do for myself. And I love the beach. So I go to the beach. I just sit there. I'll go like midday generally. Sometimes I'll stay there till the sun goes down when it's kind of dangerous because it's like dark on the beach sometimes. But I sit there and I just listen to the water, and it's a time when I'm able to reflect and just relax. And I also sometimes I'll shoot content while I'm there as well. So I'm kind of like doubling up what I'm doing. I also really love like trying out new things. So I'll try a new restaurant and I'll take myself out to lunch or to dinner. I don't need someone to have to take me. Now, look, it's nice when someone else takes me. Listen, we're not saying no one can take me, but I'll do that for myself. And those are the things that I really enjoy. Also, I work out. So exercising is super important to me. And that's one of the other things that feeds me. It makes me feel good. I know that it's attributing to how I look and appear in the world. And, it's another time when I'm able to really like finish up thoughts. I use exercise to like just release endorphins and just finish up what I've been thinking about. So yeah, those are some of the things that I do for myself. Yeah.
Awesome. Tomeka, thank you so much for being on. How can people keep in contact with you?
All right. So I am Tomeka James all over the place. So if you're looking for me on social media, you can go straight to Tomeka James. And if you are looking for me as the coach, you can go to Coach Tomeka James. And my website for my digital agency is CTJ Effective Solutions. And if you are looking for my photo booth business, it is CTJ360photobooth.com. So those are the main places. And, I have other websites, to be honest. And, as a life and business coach, I share with anyone that I'm coaching. Everything has to have its own space. So if you're looking for one of my coaching programs, you'll go to this site and you'll be able to get that information. But if you're looking for this or this, you'll go there. So yeah, that I just really love just being. I love being.
I love that. That's such a great way to end. You love being. Coach Tomeka James, thank you so much for being here. You can find her on all social media platforms. Again, thank you to the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, as we are taking August, Black Business Month, to celebrate and highlight Black women-owned, found, and led businesses here in South Florida. Until next time, peace.